You feel it already. That pressure in your chest. That quiet anger that never leaves. The sense that you were meant for more, but you've been living beneath it. This is not motivation. This is frustration turning into clarity. This is the moment where excuses stop working. Because 2026 is not ready for who you're becoming. And deep down you know it. You've spent too long playing small. Too long being polite with your weaknesses. Too long letting comfort decide your future. And now something inside you is done. Not tired. Done. Done asking for permission. Done waiting for the perfect moment. Done hoping things will change on their own. Hope is weak. Waiting is weak. Comfort is weak. And weakness has cost you enough. Look at your life honestly. Not the version you post. The real one. The missed opportunities. The wasted days. The habits you keep repeating even though you hate where they lead. You know exactly what's holding you back. It's not lack of information. It's lack of brutality with yourself. You've been too forgiving, too understanding, too soft on the version of you that keeps quitting. That ends now. Because the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards pressure tolerance. It rewards execution. It rewards the ones who show up when it hurts and stay longer than everyone else. You don't need to be nicer to yourself. You need to be more honest. Honest about your laziness. Honest about your distractions. Honest about how often you choose comfort over growth. Every easy choice you've made trained you to be weaker. Every time you said tomorrow, you taught your mind that your word means nothing. And a man who doesn't respect his own word cannot dominate anything. Not his body, not his mind, not his future. Discipline is the line. On one side is the life you've been living. On the other side is the life you keep imagining but never earning. Crossing that line hurts. Staying where you are hurts more. Pain is unavoidable. The question is whether you use it or let it rot you from the inside. Weak people numb pain. Strong people weaponize it. Every early morning you avoid is strength you didn't build. Every workout you skip is confidence you didn't earn. Every hard conversation you dodge is power you surrendered. This isn't about hype. This is about standards. Standards so high they force growth. Standards so unforgiving they make excuses impossible. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. And yours have been too low for too long. That's why nothing changed. That's why years passed and you still feel behind. That's why watching content feels good, but doing the work feels rare. Because consumption is comfortable. Creation is painful. And pain is the price. Becoming dangerous is not about aggression. It's about control. Control over impulses. Control over emotions. Control over behavior when no one is watching. The most dangerous people aren't loud. They're consistent. They don't announce what they're about to do. They do it quietly until results speak for them. That silence you're afraid of. That boredom you escape. That discomfort you avoid. That's where the work is. That's where the edge is built. While others distract themselves, you lock in. While others seek relief, you seek resistance. While others cope, you conquer yourself. This is not a glow-up. This is a takeover. Internal first. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop asking how you feel. You stop waiting for motivation. You act because acting is who you are now. You train your body until it obeys. You train your mind until it stays focused under pressure. You train your habits until discipline becomes automatic. At first, it feels forced. At first, it feels heavy. At first, you'll hate it. That's normal. That's withdrawal. Your system is addicted to ease. An addiction fights back when you remove the drug. Don't listen. Push through. The resistance is proof you're changing. Comfort never fights back because it never challenges you. Pain does, and pain is honest. Pain doesn't lie. Pain tells you exactly where you're weak. And every time you go back anyway, every time you do the hard thing despite not wanting to, something weak inside you dies. That death is necessary. You cannot become this version while protecting the old one. The old you survives on excuses. The new you runs on standards. The old you wants approval. The new you wants results. The old you avoids discomfort. The new you hunts it. And once this shift happens, there's no going back. You stop relating to people who complain all the time. You stop tolerating environments that make you small. You stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking validation. You don't need it. You know who you're becoming because you're building him daily, rep by rep, day by day, choice by choice. This is where confidence actually comes from. Not affirmations, not words. Proof. Proof that you do what you say. Proof that you show up tired. Proof that you don't fold when it's inconvenient. That proof stacks, and one day you wake up and realize something terrifying. You are no longer afraid of hard days. You're calm inside chaos, focused under pressure, relentless when things get ugly. That's dominance. Not over others, over yourself. And self-domination is the highest form of power. Because once you have it, nothing external can control you. Not moods, not fear, not circumstances. Life hits everyone. But disciplined people absorb impact and keep moving. Fragile people shatter. You decide which one you are in moments no one sees. In the early mornings, in the late nights, in the choice between effort and escape. 2026 doesn't care about your intentions. It will reward whoever is prepared. And preparation is violent. It strips weakness. It burns excuses. It exposes every lie you've told yourself. Let it. Stop running. Stop numbing. Stop pretending. This is the year you stop being polite with your potential. This is the year you become disciplined enough to be dangerous. This is the year the old version of you doesn't survive. You don't wake up one day and magically become this person. You carve him out of resistance. Every single day is a decision. Every single moment is a vote. You are either voting for the version of you that dominates his impulses, or the version that gets dominated by them. There is no neutral. Rest is not neutral. Distraction is not neutral. Comfort is not neutral. Everything is training you into something. Most people just don't like what they're training into. They wake up years later and wonder why they feel weak, why their confidence is fragile, why pressure breaks them. It's because they practiced breaking. You don't rise in chaos. You reveal what you've rehearsed, and most people have rehearsed avoidance. You're not gonna be most people anymore. That's the line you're crossing. Not because it sounds cool, but because staying average feels worse than suffering. Average is slow death. Average is regret disguised as routine. Average is knowing you could have been more, but choosing comfort instead. That quiet disappointment you carry, that's average talking. And it never shuts up until you do something about it. You don't silence it with entertainment. You silence it with execution. With days that leave you exhausted but proud. With nights where sleep feels earned. With progress that doesn't need applause. This path doesn't care if anyone believes in you. It only responds to effort. That's why it's fair. Harsh, but fair. You put the work in, it gives back. You don't, it takes. No emotions, no exceptions. You say you want to be relentless. Then act like it when no one is forcing you. Because the real test isn't intensity when you're hyped. It's consistency when you're bored. When the routine feels dull. When progress is slow. When results are invisible. That's where most people fall off. They mistake boredom for failure. They think if it doesn't feel exciting, it's not working. Discipline doesn't care how it feels. It cares if it's done. The strongest people you admire aren't fueled by motivation. They're fueled by identity. They don't ask if they should train. They train because that's who they are. They don't negotiate with their habits. They execute them. You're building that identity now. Every rep you don't skip. Every task you finish, even when your mind screams stop. Every time you choose the hard option on purpose. That's you telling yourself who you are. And your mind listens. It always does. You've just been telling it the wrong story. You told it you quit when things get uncomfortable. You told it you break when life gets heavy. You told it you need perfect conditions to perform, and it believed you. Now you're rewriting that code. You're teaching it that discomfort is not a threat, that pressure is not danger, That fatigue is not a signal to stop, just information. You can feel tired and still move. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel doubt and still execute. Feelings don't control disciplined people. Standards do. This is where the separation becomes obvious. While others complain about how hard life is, you quietly adapt. While others look for shortcuts, you build foundations. While others chase motivation, you create momentum. Momentum doesn't care about how you feel. It only cares that you keep going. And once it starts, it's terrifying. Because now stopping feels worse than continuing. Now quitting feels unnatural. Now rest feels earned instead of guilty. This is what people mean when they say someone has presence. It's not size, it's not volume, it's certainty. Certainty built through self-respect. Self-respect built through keeping promises to yourself. That's why disciplined people walk differently. Speak less, react slower. They're not rushed, they're prepared. They don't need to prove anything. They know what they've done when no one was watching. And that confidence cannot be shaken. You can insult it, you can doubt it, you can test it. It doesn't move. Because it's built on evidence. The evidence of early mornings. The evidence of late nights. The evidence of doing the boring work repeatedly until it compounds. This is where your old identity starts panicking. It will whisper that you're doing too much. That you're changing. That you're becoming obsessed. Good. Obsession is just focus that scares undisciplined people. They call it obsession because they've never committed to anything long enough to see results. Let them talk. Noise doesn't stop progress. Only inaction does. And you're done with that. You're done living reactively. You're done letting moods dictate behavior. You're done letting weakness speak louder than intention. This isn't about being extreme. It's about being exact. Exact with your time. Exact with your energy. Exact with your standards. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the right things relentlessly. Train hard. Think clearly. Eliminate distractions. Build skills. Strengthen your body. Sharpen your mind. Repeat. That's the formula. Simple, not easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it. And everyone clearly hasn't. That's why this works. Because it filters. It filters out the undisciplined, the impatient, the entitled. And it leaves behind the ones who can endure. Endurance is power. Not flashy power. Real power. The kind that lasts. The kind that doesn't collapse when life applies pressure. This is why 2026 is not ready. Not because you'll be loud, but because you'll be consistent. Not because you'll announce your goals, but because you'll execute them quietly, day after day. When no one cares. When no one claps. When no one notices. Especially then. At some point, something flips inside you. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for the right mood. You stop hoping someone will notice your potential. You realize something brutal and freeing at the same time. No one is coming. And that's perfect, because it means the outcome is finally in your hands. This is where real ownership begins. When excuses lose their emotional power. When blame feels childish. When comfort starts feeling insulting. You don't want an easy life anymore. You want a meaningful one. And meaning is forged under weight, under pressure, under responsibility. This is where most people step back, because responsibility is heavy. But you step forward, because you've learned that carrying weight builds strength. You've carried doubt. You've carried insecurity. You've carried regret. And you survived. So now, you choose what you carry. You choose discipline. You choose standards. You choose the long road with no shortcuts. And that choice changes how you see everything. Failure stops scaring you. Because you know you'll respond. Setbacks stop defining you. Because you know you'll adapt. Pain stops controlling you. Because you've already been there and didn't die. This is the mindset that separates survivors from leaders. Leaders don't avoid pain. They train in it. They use it. They refine themselves through it. They don't need perfect conditions. They become dangerous in imperfect ones. That's what you're doing right now. You're not becoming someone new overnight. You're shedding what never belonged. The laziness, the hesitation, the constant need for validation, the fear of judgment. All of that starts falling away when your actions speak louder than your thoughts. When your routine becomes non-negotiable. When your word to yourself becomes law. This is how self-respect is built. Not through affirmations, through follow-through, through doing what you said you would do long after the excitement fades. That's where your edge comes from. And once you feel it, you'll never want to lose it. You'll protect it fiercely. You'll stop tolerating environments that drain you. You'll stop entertaining conversations that weaken you. You'll stop explaining yourself to people who don't live the standard. Not out of arrogance, out of clarity. Because clarity is expensive. And you paid for it with effort. This is the version of you that moves with intent, that speaks with restraint, that listens more than he talks. Because he's not trying to convince anyone. He's building, brick by brick, day by day. And the scary part is this. One day people will ask how you changed so much. They'll say it looks like it happened fast. It didn't. It happened in silence, in repetition. In mornings you didn't post. In nights you didn't complain. In days you didn't quit. That's why they didn't see it. That's why they won't understand it. And that's okay. This path was never meant to be crowded. It was meant to be effective. You're not chasing attention. You're building authority. Authority over your impulses. Authority over your time. Authority over your future. That's real power. And it compounds. Mentally, physically, emotionally. You'll notice it in how you carry yourself. In how you handle pressure. In how chaos no longer shakes you the way it used to. Because you've trained for chaos. You've rehearsed discomfort. You've normalized doing hard things without drama. That's why 2026 is not ready. Not because you're angry, but because you're controlled, focused, sharpened. You're not driven by hate. You're driven by standards. And standards don't fluctuate. They don't get tired. They don't make excuses. They just demand execution. This year ahead is not about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Right about what you're capable of when you stop lying to yourself. When you stop cutting corners. When you stop choosing comfort over growth. You already know what you need to do. You don't need more information. You need more application. More reps. More days where you show up regardless of how you feel. Because feelings are temporary. But identity is built through action. And your identity is changing. Whether people notice or not. Whether they approve or not. You are stepping into something heavier. Stronger. More grounded. And that version of you doesn't beg life for mercy. He meets it head on. Calm. Ready. Unapologetic. So as this chapter ends and a new one begins, remember this. You don't need to rush. You don't need to impress. You just need to remain consistent. Keep the promises, do the work, protect the standard. Let time do the rest. And when 2026 arrives, don't announce who you're becoming. Let your discipline introduce you. Let your results speak. Let your presence say what words never could. Best of luck for 2026. Stay ruthless. Stay disciplined. Stay kind to yourself when it's hard. Proud of you for choosing the harder path. This is your arc.